Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, this is one of the rare occasions the sun is out. It'll peek out and in. I'm feeling good this morning. Welcome to Living with Us. My name is Sharon Mundia, and today we're outdoors. So there will be some birds, noises, construction, things happening in the background. Bear with us. But today's story and today's conversation is all around fashion. I'm here at Kobo Trust and right outside Kiko Romeo's design house. And I get to speak to Happy Makosara today and just get to learn a little bit more about her journey into fashion and about her fashion pieces. And you can see a sneak peek of that behind me, but we'll get to that in a moment. But for now, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Do you feel the pressure to answer that question by saying, I'm happy?
Yes.
Oh yeah? Everyone's made that joke?
Every day, every second I meet someone, I always have to express myself as happy.
As happy.
Are you happy?
Yeah,
yes.
Because someone's going to crack a joke and you'll be
Yes,
like, then
always.
heard that one.
Yeah.
You're not funny.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is that your pieces, you describe them as having the emotion, being emotionally charged. That emotion is a big part of what you design and how you design and what you want to express. And it's so interesting that your name is that, an emotion. Do you believe that names have the power to kind of define someone's future? And so you think there's a correlation there?
There is a correlation, yeah.
That you were destined to be in this space. All right, so I want to hear a little bit more about your journey into fashion. And whether you were always, as a child, the one who dressed up, had her little outfits ready, all ready to go.
My story is different.
Okay.
Fashion wasn't anywhere near my dreams. I always wanted to be a pilot.
Oh, really?
Yes. And
Whoa.
my dreams are valid, so
you still could.
Yes.
And in this day and age, there's no lanes. You could cross over anytime.
Yeah. So fashion was, I think I would say fashion found me. I had challenges with how I dressed because of my body size. I always dressed up with baggy clothes and thought I wasn't beautiful.
And when you say your body size, you mean?
I was chubby. I was chubbier than I am right now.
You are chubby now?
Well,
girl.
Well.
No. In fact, that's why I was like, what did you mean? I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying this to flatter you. When you said because of your size, I thought, oh, she was so small.
No,
and that's why she.
I was really big, and I dressed up with baggy clothes to hide my body. And in the process, I learned how to dress my body, and my friends noticed the process and the journey, and they wanted me to help them dress up, and in the process they encouraged me to start something of my own.
And so when you were helping them, were you picking things from their closet, or were you going shopping with them?
No,
okay.
From their closet. They'll ask me to go over, like maybe for a sleepover, and just help them put together 1-2 pieces.
And how old were you, or what stage was this?
That was when I was in campus.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I was in campus.
All right.
Because I would say I studied industrial and fine art in Makerere, and that also was kind of like an accident, because when you're choosing courses, you choose based on what you perform best. So I performed best in art.
Okay.
And it was my last choice, and that is what I was called for.
Wow.
Yeah. So in the process, I got interested in textile. I majored in weaving, and that's what I focused on in university. But when I got out, now beginning to dress my friends, that is when the fashion journey began.
Okay.
Yes.
And when you say weaving, are we talking fashion, clothing?
Yeah, fabric.
Okay.
Yeah, like wefts and waps.
Okay.
Yeah, like
everything.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So I know that the late Grace Makosara was known as, a fashion icon, and she also was your sister. Did she influence your journey at all?
She did. I was lucky enough to be around her different events, and the styling and throwing amazing parties. And through that, I was able to see and experience fashion from her eyes. And for me, that was amazing. Yeah.
Wow. So you finish campus, you finish uni, and then what happens? What was the first thing that you decided to step into?
So I did an internship at a fashion house, Kanga Culture, for a year. And through that, I was able to get to learn the ropes in the fashion industry, how to behind the scenes with the tailors, getting to see how they do the finishing, how they handle clients, and that for me now was also a part of the birthing of my tech side of fashion.
Oh, the tech side.
Not tech, what do I call it? Being able to
Like actually
making
put together the
clothes,
garments.
yes,
Right.
yes,
So
yeah.
what was the biggest lesson in the 1 year that you had been interning at that fashion house?
My biggest lesson was integrity in terms of tailoring and how you handle your clients.
Okay.
Because that is one of the biggest challenges.
Working with clients?
Not
tailors.
Yeah.
Oh, tailors.
Yes,
Yes,
tailors,
I've heard
yes.
that. I've interviewed a number of stylists, and that's usually one of the things that,
Yeah, that was
for
one
them
of
will
the
be a major
greatest
stressor.
challenge. And
yeah.
that for me was also one of the reasons that I wanted to actually just know how to do it well myself.
Yeah.
And be able to, even if I'm asking for maybe like outsourcing, that I would know how to.
Right, you would know exactly what to ask for,
Yeah.
describe it, and
Yeah.
when there's something wrong, you know
Yes,
how
I know
to point it
deal
out,
with it,
and
yeah.
deal with it.
Yeah.
So why do you think that tailors are usually a big issue, and in this country, and in and especially since I know that the textile industry in East Africa is undergoing some kind of shifts, and there's a lot of focus now in trying to revive the textile industry.
Yeah.
But why do you think that has been an issue for many designers?
I wish I had an answer for that, but for tailors, sometimes they take in more than they can handle, because they want the money. For them, it's the money that they are looking for, so they would be willing to take in more work than they can handle. So I think we need they need like an association, and I hear that there's an association coming up for the tailors, and it's a work in progress right now. Yeah.
So I know in 2014 you then start Kita Uzi. Can you tell me about that moment where you decided, okay, I'm going to put this out into the world?
So back to friends. So they encouraged me to start off, and they're the ones who were my first clients. And since I loved working with kitenge and Uzi being thread, I liked working with both, using it on accessories and on clothes.
So Kita Uzi,
Yes,
kitenge and Uzi.
yeah, that's an acronym for both. So I liked working with both of those, and yeah, so I began my journey. I didn't know where it was heading to, but I just began. And
yeah. So how did you plan to stand out in a space where there are God knows how many designers or even tailors putting out pieces with that kitenge fabric? So what was your intention, or how were you planning on really creating a niche for yourself and for your brand?
It's interesting that you'd say that, because that was one of my biggest challenges in terms of carving a niche for myself. And this beginning of this year, that was one of my goals, like to look for how I can stand out and just carve a niche for my brand. And being many designers in the industry, I was like, oh, I'm done. And that's how I got, when I got into the Metriki program, I was able to like go through the journey, find out what my brand DNA is, and how I can be of significance in the industry, if that makes sense, or just in the community, not just to the fashion, fashion industry, but just to the
community as well.
Yes, to the
So that
community.
gave you like a sense of how to position your brand
Yes.
so that it does stand out. Because the
Yeah.
truth is, there's so many, and not just even in Kenya. If you think of
around the world.
around the world,
Yeah.
even in Europe, you'll find people
Yeah.
with like kitenge fabric
Yeah.
selling. So that's interesting,
Yeah.
and I want to hear more about Metriki.
Okay.
But first, you then you start Kita Uzi.
Yes.
But then it morphs into something else.
Yes.
Tell me about that and why you decided to
So
take that direction.
back to Metriki.
Okay.
I had been in it for 4 years.
Okay, Metriki.
Yes.
So now that we've even mentioned, why don't you explain what is Metriki for people who are listening?
Metriki is an incubation program where women entrepreneurs are equipped skillfully and through knowledge in the agriculture sector and textile. And for this particular one, it was the first one for the fashion, the Metriki Fashion Incubator Program. And you're taken through the different things that you need in terms of running a business or as an entrepreneur. How to identify yourself as a brand, what is your brand DNA, how to be relevant in terms of export and your target market, and how to run it not just as a passion but as a business. Yeah.
Which is a difficult
Yes.
balance for a lot of artists,
Yeah.
whether it's in fashion or music, doesn't matter. But the balance of creating for the sake of passion, but also making a business out of it,
Yeah.
can be a tricky one. So you joined Metriki,
Yes.
as Kita Uzi.
Yes, as Kita Uzi. And I was just lost. I think I was really, really lost.
This was in
it began the Metriki program began this year.
Okay.
So in January of this year. So walking through the journey, you're meeting all these designers and they know what they want. They articulate what their brand is about, and I'm just there like Kitenge and Uzi is what I do.
Yeah.
But now just being able to know I am an individual and I would want to share my story through fashion, and for me fashion is my voice. So being able to go through the program and learning that we are all different, like every brand has its identity, that we don't, as much as we are competing against each other, we all build each other in one way or another. Yeah. So I think it was in not too far, August.
Okay.
Yes, August. That is when.
This is 5 years after creating Kita Uzi. Okay.
Yeah. So in August this year, when we've gone through the brand DNA, finding out what your brand is about, and just searching within yourself, like why are you doing what you're doing, So for me, I realized that emotion played such a big role, like for me, being plus size and covering myself up and dressing myself up to make myself feel good. That is an emotion, like emotion plays such a big role in fashion, like in funerals, in birthdays, guys dress up,
Right.
when you're going for events,
Yeah.
like emotion plays a very big role in fashion. So for me, just realizing that I would want to be part of that, gave birth to
Nikech Amor.
Yes.
So Kita Uzi
Yes.
then became
Nikech Amor, which means because I'm happy.
Because I'm happy.
Yes.
Oh, in Luo, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, that's such a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And I want to hear more about that, but I know we've got to take a break. So we're going to do that, and when we come back, we'll also then get to see some of the pieces and the collection that you've just done. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We are at Kobo Trust and right outside the Kiko Romero workshop, and I've got Happy Makusawe, a designer who recently relaunched her brand to
Nikech Amor.
Nikech Amor, which in Nua means because I'm happy.
Yes.
Just like her name, happy, smart. And that's after going through the Metriki program,
yes.
incubation program.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk about, well, actually, before we talk about this, pretend you're not seeing this just now, but what was the first thing you did after changing from Kita Uzi to your new brand?
I had to find out what the brand is about. I just didn't want to launch it directly, but I needed to delve deep to find out what I'd want to portray as a brand. Yeah, so as a result of the Metriki program, we were asked to come up with a collection just to show that we actually, whatever we learned, we applied in our collection. So this is the first thing that I did.
The first thing?
Yes, so this is my first baby.
And
these are my first babies.
And does the baby have a name?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
It's called the Funguarojo Spring Summer 2020 collection.
Funguarojo Spring Summer 2020 collection.
Yes.
All right. So tell me about this collection.
Okay.
What does Funguarojo? What is it about?
So Funguarojo is a collection that is highlighting on suicide. I wanted to share my story through my collection. As you mentioned about Grace Makosere, because of her demise, I didn't know how to handle the death of a loved one. So a lot of things ran through my mind, and one of it was suicide. And it was a whole journey. And for me, this is also a way of healing, you know, and also sharing my story that as much as you have gone through whatever you're going through and want to take your own life, I'd like to encourage people to give life a chance. Yeah, so using fashion as a voice and as a tool of communication to share my story. So yeah, so hence Funguarojo. So I'm opening up my heart to people, and I'm encouraging people who are in that space or who have been in that space to share their story, because you don't know that whether your story might save a life.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it seems like this collection required a lot of vulnerability on your end.
It did.
To allow yourself to be seen.
It did.
So let's talk about baby
number one.
Okay.
So baby number one is called the bondage dress. Bondage, because I feel like for me, silence was my bondage. And because I didn't share what I was going through, even with my family, I struggled so much, and it tied me down to so many things. I wasn't able to hang out with friends. I locked myself in the house. So it was actually bondage. So with this piece, I used this fabric is really heavy. So it is heavy.
Wait, she's not joking.
It is heavy. So just to portray the weight that bondage and silence can cause you, and it doesn't have arms because it doesn't have a place for putting your arms through.
So so someone can't actually wear this?
You can through the
but like then and then.
Yeah, maybe for a photo shoot. Okay. I don't know.
So this is not like necessarily for the market. It's just really a.
Well, initially it wasn't for the market, but with the exhibition that we did, it was embraced well. So I can tweak a bit here and there
to make it wearable.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're really not like, sorry, I can't shake your hand.
Yes.
I can't even feed myself today because Interesting.
So I just wanted to use it to portray a message of,
So it really does not have
sleeves,
any hands anywhere to put your hands through.
Yeah. So I also used cotton cord to represent rope. Ropes are commonly used to commit suicide, so I wanted to use something that is used to commit suicide to show that something beautiful can come out of something dark. So that's one of the things that I use in my collection.
Okay.
So I also use color to communicate a message. I used black to communicate the darkness that suicide and the thoughts of mental depression and all those things come with, and light to show that there's also, you know, that the angel and the demon. Yeah, so there's always a battle of the mind. And at the back, you'll notice it has a yellow strap. Yeah,
right here.
So the yellow strap represents hope for me in this collection. So I use yellow to bring out that there's always a glimpse of hope.
Okay.
Where there's darkness, there's always a glimpse of hope somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, that is the bondage dress.
The bondage dress.
Yes. Then here, I call it the help outfit.
Okay.
So as I shared earlier, silence is one of the struggles people have when they get to that place of wanting to commit suicide. So I used red on the lips to show that there's strength in asking for help. It's funny that people think that when you ask for help, you're weak. It's not weakness, and I wanted to just show that there is strength in asking for help.
Right, and actually it is a show of strength.
Yeah.
You're coming forward and showing love to yourself and sort of putting aside whatever doubts and worries you might have or insecurities, and you're saying, I need help. So I think it's a show of strength. Yeah.
So this is like a flow into this. So this is like, it's a lighter version of this.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
actually really light.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, so are they connected?
No, they're no, it's just
just for now.
Yeah, just for now.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So you won't be dragging around a skirt when you're wearing the bondage dress.
Yeah. So it's not a skirt. It's harem pants.
What?
Yeah, this is a harem pants.
Stop. That is so cool.
Yeah. So they're harem pants just to show that there's freedom and there's a lightness in when you just talk about it. There's a lightness because there are a couple of people I've spoken to who have been in that space, and they've told me one thing that has stood out. And even online, when you watch different videos concerning suicide, the one thing that has stood out is when people share it, they feel like a load is lifted off. So I would encourage people who are in that space to just talk to someone. Yeah, it helps.
Okay.
It does help.
Right.
Yes.
And
then the last piece is
what do you call her?
She still doesn't have a name yet.
Okay, not yet. Okay.
Yes, but yeah. So she's my warrior.
Okay.
This is my representation of a warrior because I feel like life is a battle, and day to day we face different things, and we need to face it as warriors, knowing that we can make it as, you know, we are victors at the end of it all. So yeah. So this is a cape that I used rope, still portraying that there's something beautiful that can come out of something dark. So I used a lot of rope, and I used this clear piece to just portray the Funguarojo, that there's hope, there's courage, and there's strength in sharing your story.
And I see suicide as
canceled.
And yeah,
suicide. We don't want suicide. We don't want suicide. So hope for me is represented by the yellow. Strength is represented by the red and white, because it takes courage to share your story. Yeah. So yeah. That is my Funguarojo collection, but it's still in progress. This is just the beginning. Yeah. So I'm hoping to start a movement.
Right.
Yeah.
And the movement is really.
Yeah.
About trying to.
About just sharing reaching out and sharing your story, because there is such stigma towards those people sharing their stories, and even in Africa. Mental health is seen as a white man's sickness, and for you to be able to share your story and to show others that you're not alone, that we can fight this, because it is a problem that is not being spoken about, especially even to the younger generation, because we are seeing so many cases of suicide on the news, that young people committing suicide because of relationships, because of you're not able to do shame,
fear,
pressure,
yeah.
and so I feel like it is something that should be spoken about. And for me, I thank you so much, because this was one of my desires, to provoke the conversation, and by you enabling me to share my story on your show, I hope that it will cause a ripple effect.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. I know there's someone who's watching right now and really resonates with what you've shared, and can see themselves in you. Maybe they're in that space right now, and just the idea that you were able to come out of that, and not just come out and survive, but also create, and create from a place that was painful, but you brought beauty out into the world. What would you like for people to feel as they wear your pieces? And what kind of people are you targeting? Would you hope to wear your pieces?
I am targeting anyone who desires to share joy, to just be happy and enjoy life, because life is to be enjoyed. It's not something that because I am a Christian, so Christ came that we may have life, and life in abundance. So let every day, every moment be something that you enjoy, whether it's a sweet, sharing a moment with your kids, sharing a moment with your family, just enjoy life. People who would want to enjoy my pieces, basically. I'm not limiting it to anyone, but anyone who would love to experience joy.
Yeah. Do you think you'll continue to be vulnerable even in upcoming collections, and sort of related to where you are mentally, or do you think it's only for this collection that you wanted to release that into the world?
It's funny that you'd say that, because initially I felt like it was just a class project, right? But now for me it feels like it is bigger than I am, because it is something that is affecting so many people. Because if you talk to even if it's just one or two people, they'd tell you that they've experienced a friend or someone, they know someone who has wanted to commit suicide or has committed suicide. So I feel like this is a cause that I would want to keep talking about.
And keep going with your pieces.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll hear more about the Metriki program, and just see if maybe you can join in, and how everyone else can be a part of this program too. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. We are seated right outside Kiko Romeo's workshop. I'm here with Happy Makusawe. She went through the Metriki program, which was launched this year. And actually, Anne McCreath was one of the people who, she was the one who was kind of hand-picking and selecting the designers who would be part of the incubation program. So, how did you hear about Metriki?
The way on WhatsApp things circulate.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine sent it to me, and I tried. So I don't normally, the way people normally apply for things and get chosen. So I've never been chosen for anything.
Yeah.
So to be chosen for this was such a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to apply online, and I got called.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long was the program?
It was 10 months.
10 months. And I know it wasn't just running in Kenya.
Yeah.
It was running also
In Ethiopia.
How many designers were picked in Kenya?
In Kenya, we were about 20.
20 designers.
Yeah. So in total, for the whole program, the Ethiopians plus the Kenyans, were 32 designers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so was there at any point, did you end up interacting with the Ethiopian designers, or even with your fellow Kenyan designers? And if so, what were some of the key takeaways from those interactions?
Okay. So for the program, we had like classes, so we always had to every month at least once or twice, like a whole week or maybe 2 weeks. So we got to have classes and interact with each other through the classes.
Okay. And you said it would be how often are the classes?
Some months we did 2 weeks.
Okay.
Some 1 week.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it was spread out.
Yeah.
It wasn't every day for
No,
10 months
no,
or
because people are running their businesses, so they needed
Right.
time to also run their businesses as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, so what were the key takeaways like from Interact? Because I can only imagine what it was like being with people who are kind of in a similar space, trying to find ways to kind of pivot and maybe change their brands.
Yeah.
What were the key takeaways from that, or even from just the 10-month program that you went through?
The key takeaways were they strengthen working together because we were able to help each other maneuver in terms of maybe getting textile. You know of a place that I can get textile. You know someone that can help me out in terms of sourcing for labor, people to help you out. Yeah, so I think there's power in working together. So let's not feel like because she's my competition, I can't help her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of the key takeaways that I got out of it.
And I think that's usually driven by fear.
Yes.
Like I'm just really scared. I don't want to fail. So I'm not going to share anything and I won't help you if you need anything.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that there was none of that. It was, in fact, it sounds like it was more like camaraderie between all the different designers.
We would share ideas, and like someone would tell you, by the way, I think this would work for you, or what I see, because there's a part in our class that we would actually tell each other what we think. For example, you'd present your logo and what you'd tell me what you think about it, and your name, what you think about the name. Like there was always healthy criticism, for lack of a better word. Yeah.
From your peers,
Yes.
which I think is really important. Yeah. Is the Metriki program something that will be happening every year, or and what is the intention of the program to?
So the intention of the program is to mentor designers so that they can be world-class brands,
Okay,
being
so you want to
able
be international brands.
Exactly.
We're not just like
not local.
focusing on Kenya,
Yes.
which is great. If you do buy, yes,
Yeah.
that's great, but you want
Yeah.
to be international.
Yes.
And it will be happening every year?
Well, this is the first one, so they want to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Then they see the way forward.
And moves from there. Is it, and I guess this is sometimes a controversial question, but I'm still going to ask it. The secondhand market has been known or deemed to have a detrimental effect on the textile industry and the fashion industry across the continent, or at least I want to say in a lot of countries in Africa. I know Rwanda, I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, banned completely. Do you think it has adverse effects on our textile industry, our fashion industry? And if so, what are the options? Or how would you like to see that be handled?
Well, because it's fast fashion, so it's something that I can go and pick from the streets for 100 shillings, and
For 20 bob even, yeah.
So I feel like it's contributing to for lack of a better word, for pollution in terms of them just bringing the second-hand stuff to Kenya. I feel like the government should control that, because now what is happening is designers are being looked at as we are being ridiculously expensive, or like people don't want to buy from us because they feel like they have an easier option, So I would request the government if they can try and handle that. Even if they are bringing in to the country, they should regulate it, because it feels like it's getting out of hand. Yeah.
But what about the fact that it might be, for a lot of people impossible to sort of buy even a shirt for 2,000-3,000 shillings. In fact, for majority of Kenyans who live, and a lot of them live under the poverty line, it's almost impossible to try and ask that they then shop designers. So what would the option there be?
I think it's also the textile, the importing of textile. So the thing is, the way the pricing of the textile also affects us as designers. So I feel like they should the taxation of those that are importing fabric, or even local production of of fabric like textiles. So I'm glad that Rivertex is being it's coming back up. So I think that's something that can make a difference in terms of also pricing for fabric, because now if I buy fabric worth 1,000 shillings,
right, how are you going to price it any
exactly.
cheaper? I get that, and I think ultimately if it was banned, or if there was some form of regulation around that, then more government resources and things would kind of spill over to support the Kenya textile industry, streamline things, maybe hopefully have more ready-to-wear pieces, economies of scale will come into play. So whereas maybe you could only buy a skirt from a designer for 4,000 shillings, now you might get it for 700 bob, because now there's all these structures and policies that support local designers and just the textile industry as a whole, which at some point it was thriving, and then we opened our doors to secondhand pieces, and it changed everything. But I think there's a lot that needs to be said and done around that, and I think things like the fashion program, Metriki right now, are helping evolve and just and continue that conversation. So going back to your designs, do you design only for women, or are you looking to also step into menswear?
In fact, for this particular collection, I'm looking into doing a men's collection, because men, your lives matter. Because what's going on is, I read online the other day that.
You mean in terms of suicide, or you mean in terms? Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about fashion. I would not have laughed if it was. I thought you were like, as a designer, I need to dress you because you are looking shoddy. Sorry, I would not have laughed if I thought if I understood what you meant.
Every hour, 60 men around the world commit suicide, and that is a problem. Like every minute, there's someone, a man, contemplating suicide or committing suicide.
And actually more men commit suicide than women.
So I'm looking into doing a collection for men, particularly for men. Yes.
So with this same theme.
Yes, with this same theme, same thing, in mind. Yeah.
What about accessories? Are you looking to do that?
I do accessories as well. But right now, this is what has come forth. But I am actually also working on accessories as well. So just have the whole package, like accessories,
come together.
Yes.
Yeah. So in total, you'd say you've been in the fashion industry for about 5 years?
Yes, 5 years. Yeah.
So what are some of the changes that you've witnessed in the 5 years that you've been a designer?
The embracing of designers, because then they weren't embraced as much, but right now people are more open to calling designers and asking people to have a custom-made outfit. Then it was going into a shop and getting a ready-made outfit, getting it adjusted where you need it adjusted. But right now they are open to doing custom-made, and they are willing to pay for the process and also for the design.
And what are your plans for the next year? What do you hope to achieve in the next few months or the next year?
I'm hoping that the suicide, highlighting on suicide, I would work more on it and just see how I can be part of the community in terms of sharing my story, maybe in high schools, talking to young guys and seeing how I can chip in, how I can see how this conversation can go on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, through campaigns. I don't know.
Interesting that you're looking to even go to high schools, because
Yeah.
sometimes you forget that even, our teenagers and children, that they are also going through.
In fact, they are the ones who are committing suicide more right now than the older folk. Like you'd hear in high school, like someone committed suicide because she was dumped by a guy, or someone because they couldn't go hang out with their friends. Such issues affecting, and people think that it is a small issue because why would you commit suicide because of being dumped by a guy or being not allowed to go hang out with your friends? To you it might seem small, but to them it's a big deal. So just letting them know that what you're going through is a big deal, and let's see how we can talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I would love to know from you, Happy, what are some of the trends that are speaking to you, or trends that you would even like to see more and more Kenyans take on?
Well, I don't follow trends, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
No, I'm just just be yourself. Like enjoy whatever trend. If you love wearing long dresses, please do.
Yeah.
enjoy being you.
Right.
I'm not limited by trends.
Yeah.
That makes
No.
sense.
I love that, and that's a
Yeah.
good tip. Really, what
Yeah.
you're pushing is like, do whatever makes you happy,
Yeah.
which lives. I mean, really, you are just putting out. You are so consistent with the branding and the messaging. So it really is just about do whatever makes you happy,
Yeah.
because I'm happy,
Yeah.
because she's happy, and I love that. All right, thank you so much, Happy, and I wish you all the best with your new brand and your collection and the message that you're hoping to put out there. And I think there has been more and more conversations being had around suicide and mental health in general, but we've still got a long way to go before we can really take away the stigma and treat it just like any other illness or sickness there is, like cancer. How we talk about it and not put any shame to the families that are going through it, to the people. So we have a long way to go, and I think it's in even the arts contributing to this that creates impact. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. How could people, I wish we had, so where can people go to find out more about Metriki if they're designers who are interested in being a part of this program?
They can go to the She Trades website and find out more about the programs that they offer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. She Trade website. All right. Thanks for watching and for being with us and joining us for the last hour, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for putting up with the noises. We were outside. We can't control what's happening. People are constructing buildings. Planes might be flying. But it was a great morning, and I enjoyed myself, and I hope you did too. But for now, I'm going to love you and leave you, and keep it locked on NTV. Bye, everybody.